maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
They have one more win than Chicago, and they literally beat Chicago in Week 17, and yet the Niners are on the road and the Bears are at home. Why? Because of an outdated rule that says, well, winning your division is the holy grail. Rewarding an 8-win division winner with a home playoff game is like giving the corner office to the guy who won the office fantasy pool instead of the guy who actually closed the accounts all year.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's going to open up Pandora's box, but I will say this. I do believe players that sign now, like Najee, should not be eligible now, but should have to sit out and come back in next year. It's just a slippery slope. And I agree with people like Tom Izzo. I don't like it at all.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Oh, it's the top of the hour. We're getting down to business here. It's the early lines. Donnie writes out, it's Joe Ranieri. You know I'm an Eagles fan. You see the trophy in the background. By the way, if I slide over this way, you see the second trophy in the background there. Those are the fun times for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you take the bad times out of it as well, which this year, Joe, and just speaking on a fandom level, like you come off a Super Bowl, you are excited. You have the opening game against the Dallas Cowboys. Offense wasn't quite right in the second half, but they got the win. They'll work this out. And from a fan perspective, usually you're supposed to enjoy watching the football games, especially when the expectations are high like you have with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like they still won 11 games this year. They won the division. The field was wide open, but something on a week-to-week basis just wasn't working. You have an offense that was supposed to be the best offensive line in football, a quarterback that just won the Super Bowl MVP and was lights out in the playoffs throughout his career. Yet Saquon Barkley had the most rushing yards from start to finish through the playoffs in the history of the NFL last year. You have a couple Ferraris at wide receiver. Vic Fangio is a defensive coordinator. A talented defense that was just about top 5 all season long. But every week I watched, Joe, and I said to myself, this is painful football to watch. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. Saquon Barkley runs for a 6-yard gain, and his next 2 carries are -2 and -3. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith on the outside running hitch routes or stupid go routes that don't make any sense. Joe, I had it up to here, and you watched yesterday. The culmination of that was the San Francisco 49ers, which should have had a chance to win that game, out-schemed the Philadelphia Eagles with guys like Kyle Juszczyk getting open and Demarcus Robinson going ballistic. I couldn't believe what I was watching, but at the same time, boy, it felt expected.
There were so many things that were head-scratching. At moments in the beginning of that game, you thought your Eagles, like, all right, once they took the lead, you're like, all right, this defense is going to hold it down now. Now they'll take, they'll be able. I mean, Barkley almost had 100 yards at the half. So there was no reason to think that the Eagles wouldn't do anything but in the second half. Keep doing it, moving the chains, wear down that defense, put the ball in the end zone. The defense, no, I got Sirianni on the sideline yelling at A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown drops 3 makeable catches that would have turned the game. If it could go wrong, it did go wrong for the Eagles. But it's been like that all year long, hasn't it?
It's been like that all year long. And here's some of the examples that you look at. I think they had 4 third-down drops yesterday, which A.J. Brown had a big one, but still they ended up getting a first down on a 4th-down conversion to Dallas Goedert there. But understand this also. When you take a look at time and space and what's supposed to happen, like even before the half, you get the football back. Your only goal is the 49ers not to score. You get the ball at the half, and you can look forward to it. Now, granted, the 49ers didn't end up scoring because they had that fumble out of bounds with 1 second left, which could have given them a field goal chance. But the Eagles were throwing deep shots instead of running the clock. Then you get to the 4th quarter and forget all the nonsense. And the Eagles have always told you, win the turnover battle, win the football game. They did. They won 2-0 in the turnover battle yesterday, and yet they still lost. But you saw, with around 2 minutes to go, the Eagles had their full complement of timeouts. The goal at that point was calm down, run the football, run some clock, stay ahead of the sticks, Joe. They hurry up to the line of scrimmage. They run a pass play. And Jalen Hurts, I don't know what happened over the past 2 to 3 years, but he used to be a very good athlete in the pocket, which means if you put a pass rusher on him, he's going to burn you for 15 or 20 yards. He can't do that anymore. He looks like he runs with cinder blocks on his feet. He ends up taking a sack to make it 2nd and 11. And then once you get Joe in the 2nd and 11, your only goal at that point is you might even hand off again. Stay ahead of the sticks. It's 4-down territory. Incomplete pass, incomplete pass, incomplete pass to end the football game. I was out of my mind at that point because situational football is not a strength here of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2025, 2026.
No. And you know, all year long, what they've shown us is that defense, excellent, elite.
Yeah.
But the offense did nothing to complement them. And in many cases, left them hanging out to dry. And, you know, that defense gave up a lot of big plays to the DeMarcus Robinson. Did you have him on your bingo card for over 100 yards? Because I certainly didn't there yesterday, but just a tough all the way around. The 20-25 mile an hour winds didn't help either. But great win by the 49ers, but a lot of question marks with your Eagles.
Exactly. 6-point lead heading into the 4th quarter. You get a great play call. Juwan Jennings throws a 29-yard touchdown pass where Reed Blankenship fell asleep and just didn't feel like covering anybody at that point. And also, understand this, Vic Fangio's defense. You had a lead in the 4th quarter. The Eagles kick a field goal to take that lead, and you let the 49ers go down the field and score a touchdown on that drive. It just, you can't, too many mistakes, but credit the 49ers. That's a tough bunch. They had an easy schedule this year. They were completely outgunned in Philadelphia, outmanned and hurt, and still won that football game. That's a good organization. I don't know how much further they're going to go, but that's impressive just to even get a playoff win in Philadelphia. Now let's hear from Nick Sirianni with that little spat from A.J. Brown mid-game.
What about you and A.J. at the end of the...
Whatever on the sideline with AJ.
Yeah, you know, I was trying to get him off the field, you know, because we were about to punt, and that was really it. So I love AJ. I think he knows how I feel about him. I have a special relationship with him. We've probably went through every emotion you can possibly have together. We've laughed together. We've cried together. We've yelled at each other. You know, we're both emotional. I was trying to get him off the field, and you know, you never want. You know, that happens in this game. That happens in this game, but I love him.
Well, anger between the head coach. Look, when you're in high leverage situations, guys are going to yell back and forth. But A.J. Brown, look, wide receivers are just a crazy bunch typically at this point. Not on the same page. A very un-A.J. Brown-like game where you want the football, you were getting the football, and you weren't making those plays. The one-on-one catches, the little bit of the alligator arms. He just looked like he was off yesterday in a game where you absolutely needed him to be on, where guys like DeMarcus Robinson and Christian McCaffrey and also Kyle Juszczyk were making play after play after play for the 49ers. You didn't get that. And again, despite the Eagles won the turnover battle yesterday, but that offense just uncreative, and it starts with the head coach and the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, they need to look at some of the situations that they have here in that offseason. But listen, had A.J. Brown made one or two of those catches that he dropped, he's probably not running down and telling him to get off the field. He's probably not lollygagging off the field. So at that moment in time, it was frustration on both of their parts. It wasn't a great look optically for everyone in the world going, what is he? Is he yelling at him because he dropped the ball? But listen, it's frustrating. It's been a frustrating year for the Eagles offensively from game one, Donnie, if we're being honest.
No, it was from game one. That second half where it slowed down, where CeeDee Lamb can get a couple catches. They probably don't even win opening night in their own building at this point. But always, you're coming down to what sort of changes that the Philadelphia Eagles could make into the offseason. They're not getting rid of Nick Sirianni unless he goes into the office today and goes, well, if you want to fire my offensive coordinator, you got to fire me too. Because they'll do that. They did that to Doug Peterson, who won a championship with the Eagles, where he wanted to have Press Taylor continue as his offensive coordinator. And the Eagles like, no. He's like, well, then I can't be with you. Oh, good. You can go at this point. So changes will be made to the Eagles roster at this point. But more importantly, it's probably Kevin Petula that's going to be out the door. And we've seen this before. You went to a Super Bowl with a great play caller in Shane Steichen. You went in-house the next year with Brian Johnson. That was terrible. Then the next year, you come back with Kellen Moore, who's a great offensive coordinator. You win a Super Bowl. Then you stay in-house with Kevin Petula. It looks like a disaster. So next year, the Eagles will probably hire a pedigree offensive coordinator and continue down those ranks. But look at some of these offensive ranks from this year to the previous year. Number 2 in rushing yard. Like, whenever they gave Saquon Barkley the ball, it felt like it was a big game. This year, 22nd with Saquon Barkley. Yards per rush, 5th last year, 24th this year. Points per game, 7th to 19th. And understand this. The Eagles, yes, Lane Johnson was injured and was supposed to come back yesterday and didn't because he had a setback on Friday afternoon at practice. But you came in with the most high-volume offense paid per dollar than any other team in the NFL, and that's what you got out of it. 28th on third down conversions with that offense with a mobile quarterback. Horrendous, Joe.
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, you knew you were going to be up against it. You lost one of the franchise's greatest centers of all time, the guy that anchored it. And then Lane Johnson getting hurt and missing games. I mean, you had backups that have backups on that offensive line a lot of spots here throughout the year. So they need to address that offensive line in a big way.
You know what, Joe? I'm a huge Eagles fan. I feel sort of relieved today that I was put out of my misery and can still enjoy the rest of the playoff run. So there's that. Got the early lineup coming up next. Stay tuned.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
They have one more win than Chicago, and they literally beat Chicago in Week 17, and yet the Niners are on the road and the Bears are at home. Why? Because of an outdated rule that says, well, winning your division is the holy grail. Rewarding an 8-win division winner with a home playoff game is like giving the corner office to the guy who won the office fantasy pool instead of the guy who actually closed the accounts all year.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to open up Pandora's box. But I will say this. I do believe players that sign now, like Najee, should not be eligible now, but should have to sit out and come back in next year. It's just a slippery slope. And I agree with people like Tom Izzo. I don't like it at all.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
It's been a nice little segment talking about those Philadelphia Eagles taking on the 49ers. Again, credit. Donnie not even be a sore. I'm not a sore loser. I even said it last night. Like, the Eagles should have won that football game, but give credit to the 49ers, man. The better football team, the better head coach. They came in and stole the game from the Eagles team that should have won that game coming into it, but clearly throughout the game was like, the Eagles can't pull away. And when you can't pull away from the football team, other teams rise to the occasion. Brock Purdy and the 49ers absolutely did that yesterday, which then brings us up to the early lineup and the hottest topics, which includes George Kittle. Like, you came in damaged goods already on that team. Say, okay, George Kittle will be there. McCaffrey will be there. Let's win. Early in that game, 1 catch, 6 yards, popped Achilles, which the future George Kittle is going to be ashamed to deal with because that's usually a long-term injury to an aging veteran here. But this year, they could have really used him next week in Seattle. He won't be there. Confirmed reports that Achilles, man, that'll get you every time.
Just awful. And it was a non-contact also. Yeah. I mean, he was falling out of bounds after making a reception. Yep. And the minute he planted, you could just see it snap. And it was like, oh, man, it just totally unfortunate. Listen, for one of the nicest, toughest guys, one of the best guys, one of the all-time great tight ends of the generation, and man, is that a lot of rehab at his age too. I mean, do you want to come back? Is it worth coming back? It's a lot of questions to be answered over the next couple of months for him.
How about Marcus Freeman out here? Goes to his son's wrestling match, and from what the reports are, maybe he got into a wrestling match himself. A police report was filed. Everybody says it's a big ado about nothing, but whenever you are a superstar head coach at a major university, you tend to make the headlines when probably you shouldn't here. He says he didn't do anything wrong, and Notre Dame's backing him here.
Yeah. New Prairie High School, the wrestling assistant coach, apparently accuses him of assault at some sort of wrestling invitational. But the good news is for Freeman that Notre Dame is 100% on his side and backing him. So I am sure a certain assistant wrestling coach might be getting free tickets, and all of this will go away.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to mess with Marcus Freeman. It's not like, hey, Kurt Signetti got in a fight. Yeah, well, he's a little bit older guy, maybe not the athlete at this point. Marcus Freeman looks like he can still line up and play a little bit of linebacker for Notre Dame. Dude was what's Ohio State linebacker in his career? I mean, come on, man. I'm not messing with that guy, trying to wrestle him to the ground and do anything with that. Matthew Stafford and the Rams, they'll move on. It looks like their quarterback will too. Scary moment where he banged his finger on the helmet of an opponent in that Carolina Panthers game, but x-rays came back negative. Woo! Sigh of relief for the Rams.
Yeah, big time, because it was ugly. And don't forget, we saw that back, I believe when he was with the Lions, we saw that happen where he smashed, I think, dislocated his middle finger, and it wasn't good for them going forward. But hopefully it'll all be okay. It appears to be okay because those passes he made, the winning touchdown pass to Parkinson was...
Yeah.
I mean, didn't look like the hand was a problem there, so that's good news.
Great ball to him, man. Yeah, big-time quarterback showing up in big-time moments. Wildcard weekend was really fun to watch across the board. Alex Bregman, he should be fun to watch from a Chicago perspective. How about this? Like, the Bregman news comes down during that Bears game when the Bears are getting their brains beat in. So it's like, oh, at least we got Bregman we can go home tonight and talk about. You get Bregman. Maybe that was the lucky charm. Maybe that was the curse that lifted. Bregman to the Cubs spurs a Bears victory. He's going to get 5 for $175. Welcome to the Windy City.
Yeah, opted out of that, the final 2 years of the Red Sox deal to become a free agent and just keep cashing, man. You might as well do it. What is he, 31 years old? I mean, he still had $80 million remaining on that deal with the Red Sox, and he's like, nope, I'll go into free agency and make twice that. And that's exactly what he did.
Trinidad Chambliss trying to make twice that of what he probably made last year if he comes back to play for Ole Miss, but it's not really up to him. He wants to come back, but also the NCAA saying, you're too old, kid. Move on to the pros. He's going to another circuit court to try to get it overturned for his 6th year of eligibility.
And I get it. There's a big bag waiting for him if he can pull out one more year of eligibility, but that's not going to happen. The reality is just go to the pros. I think the kid will land with a team. If he gets with the right coach, I think he absolutely has a career in the NFL ahead of him.
How about Chandler Morris? 7th year of eligibility. He got denied. Isn't that a little bit creepy? Like, it's like, hey, I'm like 25 years old. You're coming in as an 18-year-old freshman. Time to move on. Chandler Morris.
7 years. He's played like with 9 different teams in 7 years. Like, what are we doing here? Like, have you not graduated? Like, what? What are you on the 7-year plan? Like, that doesn't happen, Donnie. There's no reason to have a dude playing 7 years of college football. Absolutely not. Those days are gone. I mean, you can't be 28 and lacing them up for a college football team. That only happens in college basketball.
You know what, too, because I think the anger starts to, like, reset itself, Joe, because it used to be in the past, like, this guy just got a 7th year. It's like, hey, man, what a hardship. He's the 3rd-string tight end who every year tears his ACL. It's like a feel-good story. But now it's like, I made $4 million last year. I need an 8th year, and I'm going to sue so I can get $7 million this next coming year. So it's going to turn from a backup running back feel-good story to frontline starter, mercenary, school to school to school to school. Give me 8 years here so I can capitalize in on my funds here at this point. Boogie Cousins, interesting story over the weekend. Hey, Rick Carlisle, that guy used to send me selfies here trying to recruit me. And immediately your thought go to, what type of selfies was this guy saying here and sending him to try to get him to his team by recruiting? Well, it turns out it was like, hey, let me take a picture of me smiling. Like, hey, man, would love to have you on my team, where most people are probably figuring like, pixelate that picture, brother. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, not for nothing, but context matters, Boogie. It would have been great if you expanded upon exactly what kind of selfie that was in this day and age, because you're throwing poor Rick Carlisle under the bus.
Yeah.
He's got to coach Indiana with only 3 players healthy. Like, give the guy a break, will you please? My goodness.
Yeah, that ain't working at that point, Boogie. Change up the madness here. But the madness is what we do bright and early on a Monday morning right here on the SportsGrid Network. By the way, Joe, did you catch a little Saturday morning action? Me and you showed up on the TV screen on a new show said Prediction Markets Edge. Did you catch that premiere episode?
Yes.
Did you like the way you looked? Sounded?
Wonderful information and profitable information on that show, Donnie.
That's what we do. Looks like Saturdays, 9:30 a.m. each and every week. Your boy Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside once again on your show. We say see you bright and early on Monday morning. Now we see you bright and early on a Saturday morning as well. We're going to get to those prediction markets next. Let's keep it rolling on the early line.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
They have one more win than Chicago, and they literally beat Chicago in Week 17, and yet the Niners are on the road and the Bears are at home. Why? Because of an outdated rule that says, well, winning your division is the holy grail. Rewarding an 8-win division winner with a home playoff game is like giving the corner office to the guy who won the office fantasy pool instead of the guy who actually closed the accounts all year.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to open up Pandora's box. But I will say this. I do believe players that sign now, like Najee, should not be eligible now, but should have to sit out and come back in next year. It's just a slippery slope. And I agree with people like Tom Izzo. I don't like it at all.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Predictive markets. If I could have predicted a Philadelphia Eagles win yesterday, even just on the money line, I had more money in my pocket today. Because did you know, Joe, I had Tank Bigsby to get 10 rushing yards, which he did. And just the Philadelphia Eagles to win that game, which they didn't. So let's take a look at some better productive markets here. And the state of Pennsylvania still has an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. It was a little bit better yesterday because you had the Eagles and the Steelers. But as of today, you still have the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we go to Polymarket today, Joe. And how about this? The Super Bowl winning state. The favorite right now is other. Let's get some of the actual states listed, though. California, 29%. They got the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams out there. New York / New Jersey. Now, see, why do they put that? Because the team plays in the state of New Jersey? I don't think we needed that. Texas and PA on that list here. Joe, what do you think? New York? Hey, New Jersey can win a Super Bowl apparently now. I like that.
I don't hate that at all here, but I mean, my goodness, you would think with 3 teams in the same division out west that maybe one of those states might be the best way to look. Listen, if you take California, right, I guess you got two teams from there that are in it, and you got a better shot of getting at least one of them to the big game there, Donnie.
Yeah, take a look at other. Again, that state of Washington is probably where you look and say, okay, that's a number one, or the other also would include the Denver Broncos. So theoretically, the other, you have the 2 top seeds. Of course, that should be 54% as a chance there, Joe.
I agree. Absolutely. I agree. But listen, in this year, everyone has said it, it's anything is possible. Why not Pennsylvania as the winning state? Why not?
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Eagles, for bowing out early and leading it up to the Pittsburgh Steelers to try to carry that mantle in the Keystone State. Let's flip it over to March Madness because the eyes are going to start to get closer and closer, Joe, on this show, looking at college basketball. We're about midway through the month of January. Things really heat up from now right through to the conference tournaments at the last couple days of February into early March at this point. And then, of course, March Madness comes behind that. Michigan actually took a loss over the weekend, Joe, but still the favorite right now to be a number 1 overall seed in March Madness at a 78% chance. So if you're buying that, yes, Joe, it's 95 cents, which means you win back $3.40 in profit if Michigan is a number 1 overall seed.
Well, it wasn't just Michigan this week here, Donnie. We had 11 ranked teams suffer at least one loss, and actually 3 teams that were ranked actually suffered 2 losses. So there is going to be a whole lot of different shuffling. But, yeah, listen, Michigan, it's not the end of the season. We know this. But I still like me some Arizona here. I think Arizona continues to show that they should be the number 1, are the number 1 team in the country, and they're going to be a tough out moving forward.
And by the way, keep an eye on what this actually means. Not the number 1 seed overall, just a number 1 seed. So you have 4 opportunities to get that. Michigan looked great so far. Finally took a loss. They're not going to go undefeated. We understand that. But they're up high. Arizona's up there. UConn's up there. Iowa State is up here. And by the way, there's $94, Joe, in volume on this on Polymarket. 90 as a total. Like, we should go for millions and millions. Yeah, as a total. Michigan is $55. So I'm scrolling down here. Who else has some of the volume? Nebraska, way down, $10. Gonzaga, $5. Alabama, $24. But there's teams like Arizona that have no dollars on them right now, despite having a 71% chance, Joe.
Which is hilarious, given the fact that they're going to be the number 1 team in the new AP poll today in the country. So, and all we need them to be is a number 1 seed, correct? Come March Madness? That's a little light there on the handle.
Impressive stuff. Let's head over to the Kalshi markets here. How about the WBC, the World Baseball Classic? It's coming up. And by the way, did you know pitchers and catchers in roughly 2.5 weeks will be reporting at this time right now? It feels like it is baseball season. Nice to get Bregman signed. We'll see if some other guys come into the fold like Bichette today or coming in the next few days. But Team USA, 42% chance to win the World Baseball Classic. And they are listed as the favorite over Japan, who has a 29% chance. If Team USA wins it, a $100 investment, Joe, will pay you back $239.
Yeah, it's I don't mind that, Donnie. I listen, I think that's going to garner a lot more handle as we get a little bit closer to it. Last time we saw the World Baseball Classic, It was pretty popular, Donnie. It was much better than a lot of people thought. I think there's some money to be made in that market.
No, there is some money to be made, and we'll watch it. And by the way, Team USA ain't playing around. Like, they are bringing ace after ace after ace in a stacked lineup here. Let's see if they can pull off that victory while we watch it play out. But you can get involved in the prediction markets here and profit on a day-to-day basis. Next, Monday Night Football. It's Houston, it's Pittsburgh, it's Joe, it's Donnie. Let's talk about it next.
Who are we looking at? We're looking at SGA because of his availability and consistency. It's Jalen Brown to do his usage and his leadership. It's Jalen Brown for how they're playing. It's Cade Cunningham because Detroit's in the top of the East. The MVP talk is going to be wild, and it'll be interesting to watch. MVPs just don't dominate. They survive the season.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers get their touchdown, and they miss the extra point. It was Lamar Jackson who made the plays to get the Ravens into what should have been easy field goal territory. So explain to me how in the world we can look at last night's game as, well, there you go, can't trust Lamar Jackson.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Monday Night Football. What is this? Week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5? No, it's not. It is wild card weekend. It's the way you end it now. It used to be 3 games, Joe, on Saturday, 3 games Sunday. They changed the format. 2 Saturday, 3 Sunday, and 1 on Monday Night Football, which leaves us with the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the majority of last week, Joe, we had the favorites, the Houston Texans, which they're still the favorites today, but they were favored by 3.5. The number is not in the marketplace anymore. It's the Texans by 3 in a total of 38.5. Cold conditions tonight, but not ultra freezing. Weather conditions, any snow? Nope. Rain? And also winds under 10 miles an hour, which should help out the offenses because they're going to need it tonight, Joe. Your thoughts early today on a Monday on the Texans still being favored and what we possibly are getting a look at tonight.
Well, it's, again, we've seen the public loves themselves some Houston Texans here and can't figure out why it is that this line is moving towards Pittsburgh. But it's one of those situations we know in the wild card, Donnie, forever now. I think now over 80 games, the last 80-plus wild card games, the winner wins and covers, right? We never get a situation, and we got the rare one with the Rams that won but didn't cover, but that was the biggest spread that we have seen in wild card history. So the 10.5 was over the top, but they won the game. But for the most part, you never get a win and don't cover. So don't bet a team like Pittsburgh if you don't think they can win this game outright, because it's almost a 90% trend here going back 80-plus games. If you like Pittsburgh, sure, you can take the 3, but you better take them on the money line. And the same thing here with Houston. Spreads rarely come into play in the wild card round, And it feels like this line moving towards Pittsburgh, yeah, it feels like the market believes, at least the influential bettors believe, that Pittsburgh can not only cover this, but is going to win this game outright. And I like the chances because I think I trust, believe it or not, Aaron Rodgers more than I trust C.J. Stroud. I trust the Pittsburgh offense more than I trust the Houston offense. And I think that's going to matter in this spot.
It's a good word of advice that Joe brings up because college football's got lines of 25, 35, 45 points. Like, yes, the winner's probably going to win, but who knows if they're going to cover. In the NFL, the majority of spreads are between, pick 'em, let's just say, to 7 points here. So if you just pick the winner of the game, the high level of chance that you picked the winner of the game and you didn't need the point spread here. So sometimes these underdogs that win, like, hey, 4.5, I didn't even need the points. They won outright. Case in point, the 49ers were close to 6-point dogs yesterday, won outright against the Philadelphia Eagles. The same thing with the Buffalo Bills. Like, oh, I'll take the 1.5. Well, they're probably going to need to win that game. So what Joe is saying today, don't go into this game, which we always preach. I don't know if the Steelers can win, but they can keep within 3. Ridiculous thought process. If you think they're going to win this game, it's only 3 points. They probably win it outright. But again, Houston is the favorite at -3. If we look at the game the way it's going to be scripted tonight, the last couple weeks, the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't have DK Metcalf. That's a big weapon to get back because they were basically running around and masquerading with nothing at the wide receiver position. Now you get a hammer back, which means it opens up the field for the other wide receivers and the tight ends that you have and also the running backs out of the backfield. There's not a single guy that you can say we don't have to worry about. Now you have to worry about a guy. But what is the offensive structure, Joe, of this game tonight? Because I look at the total. It sits at 38.5, which isn't a high total. But when I look at this game and the way I think it plays out, I just don't see the big plays unless we get pick sixes and really flip field position. I just see it as a ground attack. First downs matter more than big deep shots at this point. I'm not a big under guy, but I am leaning towards that 38.5 to the under.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's what it's going to be, a slow moving situation here. And we just saw Houston, right? Houston, I think last game scored 2 touchdowns on the opening 2 drives, and then we got nothing, Donnie, after that for the rest of the way through. And that's the problem. It's very hit or miss with this Houston offense. And this is their first time for C.J. Stroud going out on the road in these conditions and playing in Pittsburgh on Monday night. So, it was hard enough to trust them indoors when the conditions were great. It's almost impossible to trust them here in this spot. What you can trust is, sure, the defense of Houston has been lights out. They get pressure on every quarterback. But you're not going to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers because he's the guy with the second fastest release point on the season, Donnie. He doesn't hold on to the ball. So you're not going to have it. If Myles Garrett couldn't get him, you're not getting him because they're not going to allow Rodgers to sit back there. He's not going to sit back there and wait for the pass rush to get to him. So I think Aaron Rodgers, and I think having the ability to stretch the field now with Metcalf, I think is huge because now the defense can't cheat up and take away those underneath throws, right? Yeah, no. If you don't think he can beat you deep, you're going to push everybody up to the line of scrimmage. Don't see that happening here. I think they have a big advantage right now. Offensively, they do with Aaron Rodgers under center.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the passing props here for both of these quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, 204.5 live, as well as C.J. Stroud at 229.5. The touchdown props to throw over 1.5. You're getting really good price points right now. The updated numbers are Aaron Rodgers at plus 188 now. And also, take a look at C.J. Stroud to throw to. It's a plus 120 price. Everything leaning towards the unders where you can get some pretty good numbers if you fill out in the quarterback position. Those receiving props, no surprise here. Nico Collins at a 72.5. DK Metcalf back in the fold, 56.5. We had Tom Vecchio talking earlier, Joe. I'm not looking so much at the top guys, Nico Collins and DK Metcalf. I'm looking down the board with the pass catchers out of the backfield and those wide receivers.
Yeah, well, Gainwell, too. Huge. I mean, expect him to have an absolute monster game. He's going to be there. I think also Jonnu Smith has seen an increase as well in targets. Because you get rid of the ball that quickly, guess what happens? You're likely going to the running back. You're going to the tight ends here. And as aggressive as that defense is for the Texans, they can be beat because of that aggressiveness here. So I do think Metcalf, maybe as long as reception prop, not a bad look either, because they are going to take a couple of shots with him down the field.
Now, if we do look at a game, Joe, that let's just say it gets played around 40 points, the explosive play is probably going to be there all that much. It may be a game that we'd have at 50, total or 55 total and played in better conditions, like perfect 65 degrees, no wind. Woody Marks on the ground, 56.5. Jalen Warren, 52.5. Then Gainwell, 28.5. You figure these guys are going to be getting their carries. Both two good defenses that are going to be playing. How do you play this on the ground? Because I like Gainwell out of the backfield, more of a pass catcher, and I do think Warren gets his. If I gave you one guy, Joe, Woody Marks or Jalen Warren, 56.5 and 52.5, which running back would it be for you tonight that you want to back?
Yeah, well, I think the choices are limited for Houston outside of Marks, right? I think if they're going to have a shot in this game and win this game, then they are going to need to have a big effort from him. And it's going to be up to Pittsburgh to make sure they take away that running attack here because they got to get a pass rush on C.J. Stroud, but they can't get beat by Woody Marks either. But I think they're going to give him a shot to do it. I really do. I think Marks is going to have more opportunities than what Jalen Warren will have.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch it play out tonight because, again, I don't think either one of these teams, Joe, will have that double-digit lead throughout the game where sort of can't really run the ball anymore. So running back should be in this game plan first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, which brings us to the next one. We just talked about it, Joe, right? 38.5. So you're going to get really good pricing in the market if you can pick guys that can score a touchdown or exceed their level of whether it's receiving, rushing, and or passing. Nico Collins, plus 150 price. That's the start tonight, Joe. Usually you have a guy like low minus 140, minus 130, plus 105, plus 150 starts at Woody Marks, plus 185. Gainwell, Warren, Metcalf. I got burned yesterday. I had A.J. Brown at a plus money number and Devontae Smith plus money number. One of those guys will catch a pass for a touchdown. They didn't. Who would you go to tonight? Is there a double up that you take at some of these plus money or just a singular guy that you think makes a lot of sense?
Well, I think Metcalf is a matchup nightmare in the red zone, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to look for him here. I mean, who else are you going to trust to go up and get a ball? I think he's it. I think they're going to figure out a way to get him involved in this thing. Would not shock me at Metcalf at that price finds pay dirt.
Yeah, if I'm doing a double up in this game, like I just take the running back position, Gainwell and Warren, one of those two guys to score a touchdown. It's a full unit in your pocket. If both score, it's an absolute banner night. So good times tonight and some good ways to profit. We'll see if we can do that. More interesting information on the way today. It's Joe Rainier. It's Donnie Wright. That is the early line on the grid. We'll be right back.
Who are we looking at? We're looking at SGA because of his availability and consistency. It's Jalen Brown to do his usage and his leadership. It's Jaylen Brown for how they're playing. It's Cade Cunningham because Detroit's in the top of the East. The MVP talk is going to be wild, and it'll be interesting to watch. MVPs just don't dominate. They survive the season.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers get their touchdown, and they miss the extra point. It was Lamar Jackson who made the plays to get the Ravens into what should have been easy field goal territory. So explain to me how in the world we can look at last night's game as, well, there you go, can't trust Lamar Jackson.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Got a little breaking news here from Adam Schefter with a little news nugget right now. The Green Bay Packers, who blew up in flames on Saturday night, maybe not what their fan base wants to hear today, but Schefter says the Packers are now expected to try to work out a deal in the next coming days to keep Coach Matt LaFleur in Green Bay per sources, Joe. Let's start there. Usually want to let it simmer a little bit. They like what they have on LaFleur. An awful loss. Fan base gets upset, but it's the Packers. They're cheeseheads. They don't get too upset, do they?
Listen, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can look at what happened to Green Bay this year. One of them is, hey, listen, the guy made the playoffs. He lost Parsons. He lost his top receiver and best tight end there in Kraft. A lot of offensive line issues. And you can say they still made it. But you can also look at the fact that, why they made it, a lot of his coaching decisions and play calling is absolutely head-scratching, that you lose games on the biggest stage and you blow double-digit leads. So Donnie goes back to the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And for a Green Bay Packers organization, it's probably not the worst move right now.
No, certainly not the worst move right now. I'll tell you about this. This is not a story from The Onion. This is a story from Shams Charania. And his tweet that came out here on the 9th, which was a couple days ago. Obviously, we have the weekend off. Dallas Maverick star Anthony Davis has sustained ligament damage in his left hand. Sources tell him and Band McMahon, whoever that is, depending on second opinion, if surgery is required, Davis could miss a number of months. You cannot write this story like this. It just seems fake news. You could tell me anything about Anthony Davis at this point, and I will believe it here. This is also a guy like, hey, Atlanta wants to chime in and get. You can't take this guy. You can never trade for this guy. You can't sign this guy. He is never available. Every injury imaginable, I should say, is with Anthony Davis, and it's no surprise he'll probably be out for the rest of the year.
He played in that game against Utah, and, he hurt his left hand trying to block Laurie Markkinen there. And now all of a sudden that's it. That's all it takes. And it wasn't egregious. It wasn't like oh my goodness, like he punched a brick wall. No, it wasn't. It was a basketball move. Nobody gets hurt in the routine play of basketball more than Anthony Davis. And now, what are you going to get for him in the trade market, Dallas? Exactly. Once again, too little too late, Dallas. Now he's not worth anything.
No, don't worry, because this seems like a great move for a team like Atlanta. It's like, if we trade for him now, we don't have to play him. We just got to really Trae Young, and Washington's telling Trae, like, hey, we got a superstar in town. Shh, we don't want to play him this year because we don't want to play. We want to get a better draft pick for next year. Enough with the nonsense. And if you thought the NBA was kind of crazy to start with anyway, how about Dennis Schroeder? Suspended 3 games without pay. What did he do? Was it substance abuse? Was it DUI? Domestic home violence? Like what? No. He waited outside the locker room to try to fight Luka Doncic and got a 3-game suspension. How's that even a 3-game suspension? Did he make it in the locker room? Did they square up at this point? Or was he just walking around the hallways? Like, that's a 3-game suspension. What's going on here?
That's hilarious that he actually waited outside the locker room for him there. Jeez. And it's even more funny, too, that the NBA feels like they have to intervene here and get it done after. And this happened back in late December, I believe, Donnie. It's very interesting here. Are you worried about a precedence of players showing up in other locker rooms going, get him out here, I'm going to kick it? I mean, isn't that what the NBA was in the late 90s, early 2000s anyway? What am I missing?
I mean, just throw down on the court, man. Why save it for the locker room? Just get it out of the way. We can all enjoy it as fans here. We'll have to give us something to talk about the next morning here. The Lakers are going to take on the Kings tonight, and the Lakers are on the road as a 9.5-point favorite in a total of 227.5. No fights tonight, people.
Yeah, no fights tonight, but I believe Sacramento did the unthinkable last night. They actually they won a game, but they're not going to have Schroeder tonight, so he won't be available for this game to taunt Luka or whatever it was that was going on. But I also, listen, Lakers have done a great job this year of beating up the they're 9-30 to Sacramento Kings. The Lakers can impose their will here, likely will do that in Sacramento here tonight.
Boston Celtics going to take on the Indiana Pacers tonight. But before we get to that game, who's upset right now? Yeah, it's Jaylen Brown. And welcome to the party. Inconsistencies with officials here. We see it every single night. You know why? Because the rules are so complicated, because of the way it translates to the court. Everybody's angry every night because they're always subjective fouls, Joe.
I agree, but you know what else would be great if you got consistency with? Like your play, Boston, because you've dropped 2 out of 3, and you didn't even score 100 points at home against the San Antonio Spurs, who ended up beating you in your own building on the second of a back-to-back. So call me crazy here, but need to see a little more. It can't be, boom or bust with Jaylen Brown all the time having to score 30 or more points in order to get it done. Find a little more consistency offensively, I think, and the Celtics will be fine.
Pacers tonight at home, getting 6 to 5.5, depending where you're shopping at in that game here, Joe. Celtics will be on the road. See if they can pull off the victory. See the money line, minus 225 as a favorite towards the Celtics, plus 188 for the Pacers, and a total of 224. Any thoughts on this game tonight, quickly, before we hit the next one?
The Pacers are on a winning streak, Donnie, although they have the league's worst record at 8-31. This could be a third straight win for them here following a 13-game losing streak. It would be their first 3-game winning streak of this. Yeah, they're not getting it. Who are we kidding? The Celtics will likely roll them.
We'll find out. Nobody wants to take those Pacers, Joe. I'll just leave you with that tidbit to the next segment here on Bye. Sixers and the Raptors, people. Sixers are a favorite, minus 3.5 points. Will Joel play? Will he not play? The one thing we do know is Max will probably play about 40 minutes and drop 40 points in this game. Sixers as a favorite north of the border, Joe, with a total around 220.5.
I hate these back-to-back things here. I mean, we just watched an overtime game yesterday where the Raptors snuck by 116 to 115. They've actually done a pretty decent job of going toe-to-toe with the Sixers here. 2 games to 1, I think, of the 3 they've already played. This will be the final game between them. It feels like it's a good opportunity for the Sixers. I trust the Sixers more than I trust the Raptors right now. So, yeah, I would lay it with the Sixers.
6-pack tonight in the NBA, which starts with the Utah Jazz and the Cleveland Cavaliers at 7 p.m. That's a 13-point line to 13.5 depending where you're shopping at. And then late night, it's those Hornets versus the Clippers here at a 4.5-point spread. That's a 10:30 game. Let's close it down in style. We got Fade the Public Bowl coming up. We got Best Bets and Bye. We'll see you right after this short break.
OK Dubs has to go back to his roots. I'm not a Jets fan, I'm not a Giants fan, and neither one of those teams even play in New York. But I'm a New Yorker through and through, despite where my mail gets sent. And I will not stand for the Jets to be dragged through the mud in this way. Not gonna happen. So Dante Moore, if you do leave, you should be so lucky to fly the plane.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Who are we looking at? We're looking at SGA because of his availability and consistency. It's Jaylen Brown to do his usage and his leadership. It's Jaylen Brown for how they're playing. It's Cade Cunningham because Detroit's in the top of the East. The MVP talk is going to be wild, and it'll be interesting to watch. MVPs just don't dominate. They survive the season.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers get their touchdown, and they miss the extra point. It was Lamar Jackson who made the plays to get the Ravens into what should have been easy field goal territory. So explain to me how in the world we can look at last night's game as, well, there you go, can't trust Lamar Jackson.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Ah, the sun does come up. It really does. As an Eagles fan, it set last night. It still came up today. Life moves on. Next year, you'll be talking about the Eagles in the summer and what they can do. But for now, they're out of it here, Joe. We got a Monday night football game tonight and a lot more fun to be had. We got college basketball coming up in a big way. We got the NBA coming up in a big way here, and also the rest of the playoffs, and also a national championship game in college football next Monday night. But before we get there, Joe, we like to reach out to the people. We like to see what the people have to say on the show today on the early line. You know what we're going to ask? Here's our Fade the Public poll. Good one here today, Joe, and it asks, at SportsGrid on X, what are you betting on tonight in the Texans-Steelers Monday night football game? 4 choices, over, under, and the side, the Texans or the Steelers, with a point spread of 3. The favorite right now, Joe, the Texans at 35.4% live at -3, and the Steelers at 32.3%. Nobody wants the over tonight, Joe. Uh-oh, where are you going?
Yeah, it's, nobody wants the over. And listen, quite honestly, I don't blame them either for not wanting the over, as, temps are going to drop maybe below 30 degrees. You got a chance of rain. There's going to be a little bit of wind going on there. And it feels like defense could rue the day here on this game. And we know Houston plays it. But I think sneakily, people don't realize how good that Steelers defense has been now down the stretch. And a healthy TJ Watt and company going to make it very interesting here tonight on CJ Stroud.
Over is at 9.2% live. Under's 23% live. And then the Texans, the slight favorite at 35%, followed by the Steelers at +3. So we have one of those games, which I agree with. We haven't had a lot of line movement, Joe, in that point spread all week long. 3.5 to 3 is not a massive line move. You get the 2.5s. Now we're talking back up to 4. Yeah, that could be different. But a lot of these people looking at these two teams tonight, evenly matched in Pittsburgh, as Pittsburgh is the underdog at home. It's a new week. We like to say new money here, and it's time to get some of those victories on the board. Here's bye. Time to talk some of those best bets today, Joe. Where do we head? The NFL's got Monday Night Football. You got a 6-pack in the NBA tonight. Maybe college basketball. Where are we at, Joe?
Well, it's an interesting one tonight. Monday Night Football, the final Monday Night Football of the season. And, listen, we all know the Steelers' record with Mike Tomlin on Monday Night Football. He apparently never loses. But more importantly, I think the total now sitting at 38.5 is interesting because, Donnie, we just talked about it. I don't trust the Houston offense. We told you it makes sense to play teams that you think can win the game. And I think Pittsburgh can win this game. And if I think they can win it, then I'm also suggesting that that's because the Texans don't get to 21 points here with a low total. Their team total 20.5 here, Donnie, and I got no problem going underneath it because I think 20 points wins it, but I would not be shocked if it's the Pittsburgh Steelers that score the 20 and you get the Texans who score less than that. So under 20.5 for me, I don't think we're getting a whole lot of points here tonight.
Hold them the field goals, Joe. Keep them out of the end zone. That's the way you get team totals to the under. For me, I'm going to the association tonight. Picked up another victory. It was hot last week in the NBA. By taking teams most people don't want to take. The Boston Celtics are a much better team than the Indiana Pacers. If we look at the overnight line, Joe, it was sitting at 7. Now some outlets sitting at 6s and even 5.5s. But if we take a look at the Celtics, getting roughly 65% of the tickets coming in on them overnight to only 35% for the Indiana Pacers. So the simple handicap is this. Nobody wants to take the Indiana Pacers tonight. But you avoid the RS is taking the Indiana Pacers tonight, Joe, getting 6 points. By the way, we had a couple dogs last week, ugly dogs, winning outright against their opponent. And tonight, we're looking for the Pacers. We don't need outright. Just hang around within a touchdown here and get them dollars for the boys, Joe.
I like it here, Donnie. When everyone's going left, you go right. That is not a bad way to look here. Hey, listen. And you don't necessarily need them to win. You just need them to cover. So a lot of opportunities, I think, in that game.
By the way, some devastating losses over the weekend for some NFL teams, which includes the Philadelphia Eagles. Do we get any surprises today with firings, Joe? What do you think before we get out of here?
Listen, is Harbaugh going to Philly? I definitely think some coordinators might be looking for jobs sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Sirianni gets fired. I'm going live. I'm breaking into the network, hosting my own show here in the middle of the afternoon. For Joe and Donnie, we'll be back on a Tuesday morning with another edition of The Early Line.